Okay, so picture this. In the heart of Barcelona, there's this building that looks like it's literally growing right out of the earth. It's the Sagrada Familia. And get this, it's been under construction for over 140 years. It's part architectural marvel, part historical saga, and, believe it or not, it's still not finished. So let's dive into the incredible story of this unfinished symphony in stone.
That quote right there comes from the man himself, the visionary architect Antoni Gaudí. And who, you ask, was his client? Well, he was talking about God. And honestly, that one line just perfectly sums up everything about this project. The unbelievable patience, the deep faith, and the pure genius that's been driving it from day one.
To really get what this basilica is all about, we've got to get inside the head of Antoni Gaudí, the guy who completely transformed it. It all starts with his revolutionary vision.
So here's a fun fact you might not know. Gaudí wasn't even the first architect on this project. He took it over in 1883 when he was just 31. It was supposed to be a pretty standard neo-Gothic church, but Gaudí, he took one look at those plans and basically threw them in the trash. He had something totally radical in mind, something inspired not by old architecture books, but by the natural world all around us. So how in the world did he design these shapes that just seem to defy gravity? Well, his method was brilliant and surprisingly low-tech. Get this, he built these complex models by just hanging chains with little weights on them. Then he'd look at the reflection of that model in a mirror, and boom, the natural curve of the hanging chain revealed the perfect, self-supporting arch. It's called a catenary arch, and it was a technique that was literally 100 years ahead of its time. Just genius.
And this is where you can really see just how revolutionary his thinking was. I mean, think about traditional Gothic cathedrals, right? They have those big supports on the outside, flying buttresses, that are basically propping the walls up, just fighting against gravity. Gaudí thought, why fight it? He decided to work with gravity. He designed the inside columns to branch out at the top, just like trees in a forest. These trees carry the weight of the roof and channel it down to the ground naturally, creating this spiritual forest bathed in the most incredible colored light.
Now, Gaudí knew. He absolutely knew he wouldn't live to see this thing finished. So what did he do? He poured all his energy into completing one part, the Nativity Facade. He wanted it to be like a roadmap, a blueprint in stone for whoever came after him. And it is just exploding with life and symbolism. I mean, you've got turtles at the bottom of columns symbolizing the unchanging nature of land and sea, and then you have chameleons to represent constant change. It was his way of leaving behind a very clear message. So Gaudí's vision was crystal clear, but actually building it? Well, that's been a whole other story. A story full of massive setbacks and just incredible perseverance. I mean, just look at this timeline. The journey has been so fragile. Construction starts in 1882. Then in 1926, Gaudí tragically dies and not even a quarter of the project is done. A decade later, the Spanish Civil War breaks out and his workshop is destroyed. Fast forward to 2020 and the COVID-19 pandemic shuts everything down. It's just been one thing after another. And yet somehow it keeps going. And that fire in 1936, that wasn't just a setback. It was a devastating blow that nearly killed the entire project. They destroyed almost all of Gaudí's intricate models and plans. His vision was nearly erased. For decades, architects had to play detective, literally piecing together tiny shattered fragments, looking at old photos and trying to reverse engineer his genius.
Which brings us right up to the present day. And this is where the story gets really cool. Because the secret to finally finishing this 19th century masterpiece, it's all about 21st century tech.
It's a great question, right? It seems like a total paradox. How do you stay true to this master craftsman's vision while using tools he couldn't even have dreamed of? Well, here's how they're doing it. It's like technology finally caught up to Gaudí's brain. First, they take those little surviving fragments of his models and scan them with 3D scanners. Then, they use super powerful computer software, some of it is actually from the aerospace industry, to reverse engineer his designs. From there, they can 3D print new, perfect prototypes. And maybe coolest of all, they use robots to cut these huge blocks of stone with insane accuracy, which has dramatically sped up the whole process.
But that's only half the modern miracle. There's another big question. How does a sacred temple actually pay for all this? You know, there's no government funding, no rich benefactor footing the bill, so where's the money coming from?
The answer is pretty unique. The Sagrada Familia is what's known as an expiatory temple. That's a fancy way of saying its construction is funded by donations. And today, that means it's funded almost entirely
by you, by the millions of people who buy tickets to visit every single year. So if you've ever been, you literally helped build it. Every single visitor is a contributor.
And trust me, those tickets add up. In 2023 alone, the revenue was a whopping 127 million euros. And you can see right here where that money goes. Over half of it, 52%, goes straight back into construction. The rest covers managing the temple and all its operations. It's a completely self-sustaining cycle.
Okay, last section, the price of glory. Because even as the towers are finally reaching the sky and we can actually see the finish line, the final and maybe the most controversial chapter of this whole saga is just getting started.
So the last big piece of the puzzle is the main entrance. It's called the Glory Facade. And Gaudi's vision for it was, well, it was grand. He pictured this massive, monumental staircase that would lead people up and across the street right into the basilica. It was supposed to be this incredible, welcoming entrance. But there's a huge problem.
Well, here's the thing. In the 100+ years since Gaudí drew up that plan, the city of Barcelona didn't just stand still. It grew up right around the church. That empty space he planned for the staircase, it's not empty anymore. It's a city block packed with buildings.
And when I say packed, I mean it. To build that staircase, they would have to demolish 3 entire apartment blocks. That means around 1,000 families and businesses would have to move. 1,000! These are people's homes and livelihoods we're talking about.
And this brings us to a really difficult, deeply human conflict. On one side, you have the construction foundation. They say, look, we have to finish Gaudí's complete vision, staircase and all. But on the other side, you have the residents, and their argument is that the staircase wasn't even in Gaudí's original registered plans, and more importantly, their homes and businesses are at stake. Right now, it's all in the hands of the Barcelona City Council, and nobody knows what's going to happen.
And really, that's what the Sagrada Familia is today. It's a building born in the past from Gaudí's incredible mind. It's being brought to life by the technology of the future. And now, its own future depends on solving a very modern, very human conflict about what's more important.
So it all comes down to this one question. When that last stone is finally laid, will it be the complete, uncompromising vision of Gaudí, or will it be a modern compromise? It's pretty wild to think that, after all this time, the biggest challenge isn't the engineering or the stone, but us, people, and what it really means to finish a masterpiece in a world the original creator never could have imagined.